Today's number 8 most urgent vulnerability on the Daily Ranked CVE Brief is CVE 2026-56291 in Balbooa Forms, a Joomla extension. And yes, number 8 still matters here, because this is not just a theoretical critical bug sitting in a database. CISA lists it in the Known Exploited Vulnerabilities catalog, which means defenders should treat it as a real-world risk, not a future possibility. The issue is straightforward and dangerous: an unauthenticated arbitrary file upload that can allow executable files and lead to full remote code execution. In plain English, a site feature meant to accept form submissions can become a way for an outside attacker to place code on the server and run it. Our daily promise is simple: what to patch first, ranked by real exploitation signal, CISA KEV, first EPSS, and CVSS. This one earns attention because all three signals point in the same direction. Act now. CVE 2026-56291 affects Balbooa Forms, known as Balbooa Forms, a forms extension for Joomla sites. The official NVD description says, the Joomla extension Balbooa Forms is vulnerable to an unauthenticated arbitrary file upload that allows uploading executable files and leads to full RCE. The weakness category is CWE-434, which is commonly described as unrestricted upload of a file with a dangerous type. That means the application accepts a file from a user, but does not enforce the right safety boundaries around what that file is, where it can land, or whether the server could later treat it as executable. Upload features are normal on modern websites. Contact forms, attachments, resumes, images, documents, all of those can be legitimate. The risk appears when the upload path accepts something the server can run as code. If that happens without authentication, the barrier to entry is dramatically lower. Verdict: this is a near worst-case web vulnerability, remotely reachable, unauthenticated, and potentially full server compromise. The CVSS score is 9.8 critical. The most important parts of the vector are not obscure math, they are the operational reality. First, the attack vector is network, so the exposure is over the network, rather than requiring local access to the machine. For an internet-facing Joomla site, that matters. Second, the vector says no privileges are required and no user interaction is required. In other words, the attacker does not need a valid account, and they do not need to trick an administrator or editor into clicking something for the core condition to exist. The impact ratings are high for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Translated, data can be exposed, content or code can be changed, and the site or underlying service can be disrupted. That combination is why a file upload bug can rank like a full compromise path. The reason this rises above a routine critical is the exploitation signal. CVE 2026-56291 is on CISA's Known Exploited Vulnerabilities list. For defenders, KEV status changes the conversation. You are no longer asking, could someone exploit this someday? You are asking, do we have this exposed, and have we already been touched? The EPSS percentile provided here is 0.94503, placing it high relative to other vulnerabilities by predicted exploitation signal. EPSS is not a guarantee that your site is being targeted, and it is not a substitute for asset inventory. But when a vulnerability has a 9.8 CVSS score, a high EPSS percentile, and KEV status, the right operational stance is urgency without drama. Patch and verify first. Debate edge cases later. Public Joomla sites often sit close to business-critical functions, lead forms, membership portals, event registrations, or customer contact workflows. If an upload flaw becomes remote code execution, the blast radius can extend well beyond a single form. At a conceptual level, the path is not complicated. A Joomla site exposes a form feature to the web. That feature includes or reaches upload handling. Upload handling is supposed to check what is being submitted and ensure it is safe for the site to store and process. With this CVE, the reporting failure is that unauthenticated users can upload arbitrary files, including executable files, leading to remote code execution. The key defensive idea is that upload features cross a trust boundary. A visitor supplies content, the server receives it, the application stores it somewhere, and later the web server or application may interpret that stored content. If dangerous file types are accepted, if storage locations are executable, or if validation is not reliable, the upload feature can become a code delivery path. We are not walking through exploit mechanics or payloads. The practical takeaway is simpler. If Balbooa Forms is present and reachable on a public Joomla site, assume the form surface deserves immediate review. Start with inventory. Identify every Joomla site you operate, including marketing sites, old microsites, staging systems that accidentally stayed public, and sites managed by agencies or business units outside central IT. Then confirm whether Balbooa Forms or Balbooa Forms is installed and enabled. Do not rely only on memory. Check the Joomla extension inventory, deployment records, configuration management, and any software bill of materials you maintain. For exact affected and fixed versions, defer to the vendor or official advisory information. Do not guess. If you cannot prove a site is on a fixed version, treat it as potentially exposed until verified. Also map where forms are reachable from the internet and whether any form supports file attachments. Even if only one page uses the upload functionality, the extension's presence deserves attention. Finally, separate internet-facing production from internal-only assets, but do not ignore internal sites. The CVSS vector is network-based, and internal compromise can still matter. The first move is to update Balbooa Forms according to vendor guidance, using trusted administrative channels and normal change control where possible. But do not let routine process turn into avoidable delay for exposed systems. If you cannot patch immediately, consider disabling the extension or taking affected forms offline until you can confirm a safe state. Reduce the risk around uploads. Ensure upload directories are not configured to execute code. Restrict allowed file types to true business requirements, and enforce server-side validation rather than trusting browser-side checks. Use least privilege for the web application account, so a compromise has fewer places to write or modify. After patching, do not stop at version verification. Look for unexpected files in upload-related directories and other web-accessible paths. Compare against known good backups or deployment baselines where you have them. If you find suspicious changes, preserve evidence and move into incident response rather than simply deleting artifacts. Detection should focus on what should not happen in normal form usage. Review web server and application logs for upload requests from unusual sources, repeated upload attempts, abnormal file names, unexpected file extensions, or sudden spikes against form endpoints. Normal behavior for a business form is usually predictable: a modest number of submissions, expected attachment types, and files landing in known storage locations. Suspicious behavior may include files appearing where uploads do not normally go, files with executable characteristics, or upload activity followed by unusual requests to newly created paths. Monitor file integrity in web-accessible directories and upload directories. Watch for new scripts or executable content that was not deployed through your normal release process. Also review server behavior after suspected upload activity. Unexplained process launches, web server crashes, permission errors, or outbound network connections that do not match the site's normal function. None of these signals alone proves exploitation, but together, they help you decide whether patching is enough or whether incident response is needed. To recap, CVE 2026-56291 is today's number 8 on our ranked list, but it carries the kind of profile defenders should move on quickly. It affects Balbooa Forms for Joomla. The flaw is an unauthenticated arbitrary file upload, categorized as CVE-434, that can allow executable files and lead to full remote code execution. The CVSS score is 9.8 critical because it is network reachable, requires no login, requires no user interaction, and can impact confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The CISA KEV listing tells us this is known exploited, and the high EPSS percentile reinforces prioritization. Your action list is clear. Find Joomla sites, confirm Balbooa Forms exposure, patch or disable, harden upload handling, and review logs and file systems for signs of compromise. This is the Daily Ranked CVE Brief, what to patch first, ranked by real exploitation signal every day. Subscribe for the next ranked breakdown, and check the full ranked report linked in the description.